Hello, traveller. My name is Dr.Kobakos. Welcome to my channel. For more than 40 years, I have studied nature and the knowledge surrounding it. Over time, I noticed something troubling. Information about medicinal plants is rarely discussed, rarely promoted, and often quietly ignored. We live in a world where health is treated as a product, and large industrial systems influence what is researched, what is promoted, and what remains unseen. In this video, I will show how modern views on medicine and health have been shaped, and in some cases distorted, by economic interests. Interests that do not benefit from people staying healthy or relying on the free resources that nature provides. Piece by piece, plant by plant, I gathered what was left behind. I do not promise miracles. I present observation, history, and evidence, because people must know the truth. A sunflower. This plant once followed the sun. Every morning, its face would turn east, tracking the light across the sky. By evening, it faced west, having completed a full arc of devotion to the source of all life. Heliotropism, botanists call it, the turning toward light. But that was before. Today, the sunflower turns only toward profit. Sit down here in my archive. Before you is a photograph. On the left, a wild sunflower. Multiple flower heads on branching stems, each turning independently toward the sun. Roots extending 2 meters deep. On the right, an industrial field. 10,000 identical plants. Single, massive flower head, no branches, bred to face permanently upward for mechanical harvesting. Roots shallow, optimized for chemical fertilizer. Same species, Helianthus annuus. But between these images lies a century of transformation that broke something fundamental. The wild sunflower still remembers how to turn toward the sun. The industrial variety has forgotten. We bred that knowledge out because plants that move are harder to harvest efficiently. We took a living system and turned it into a resource. The year is 3000 BCE. Indigenous peoples across North America, from the Pueblo to the Huron, cultivate sunflowers as part of complex polyculture systems. Sunflowers growing alongside maize, beans, squash, amaranth. Archaeological evidence shows domesticated sunflower seeds dating back 4,500 years. One of the few crops domesticated north of Mexico. They understood the plant as a complete system. Seeds were eaten raw, roasted, ground into flour, pressed for oil, used as food and ceremonial anointing. Flower petals produced yellow dye. Stalks provided construction material. Leaves were medicinal, treating snake bites, reducing fevers, healing wounds. But most importantly, sunflowers were grown for what they did to soil and ecosystem. The Pueblo planted them at field edges as windbreaks. Deep taproots brought minerals up from deep layers, making them available to shallow-rooted plants. A single plant produces 15 to 20 kilograms of biomass, returning massive organic matter to soil. The Lakota called them wahangpi, considering them sacred. During the Sundance ceremony, sunflowers symbolize the connection between earth and sun. This was sophisticated ecological management developed over thousands of years. One indigenous farmer could grow sunflowers requiring no irrigation beyond seasonal rainfall, no fertilizers beyond decomposition, no pesticides because diversity prevented pest explosions. The plant gave abundantly because it was part of a system that sustained it. Spanish explorers encounter sunflowers in 1510. Seeds reach Europe. By 1569, they're in botanical gardens as ornamental curiosities. But in the 18th century, people realize sunflower seeds produce excellent oil. In Russia particularly, this gains commercial interest. By 1830, Russian farmers grow sunflowers commercially. The Russian Orthodox Church approves sunflower oil for Lent, creating market incentive. Russian agronomists begin breeding for increased oil content. Original indigenous varieties had 25 to 30% oil. By the late 1800s, Russian varieties reach 40 to 50%. Higher oil means more profit. But higher oil comes with trade-offs. To maximize oil production, the plant allocates fewer resources to robust stalks, deep roots, and compounds that provided medicinal benefits and pest resistance. The wholeness is being discarded. The 1960s and 1970s accelerate this dramatically. During the Green Revolution, sunflowers undergo intensive hybridization for industrial monoculture. Traditional varieties had multiple flower heads on branching stems. Industrial hybrids produce a single massive head. Why? Mechanized harvesters work more efficiently with uniform, single-headed plants. Traditional varieties showed heliotropism, tracking the sun throughout the day. But plants that move are harder to harvest mechanically. So breeders eliminated heliotropism. Flower heads now face permanently upward. We literally bred the solar tracking out of sunflowers. Root systems changed too. Traditional sunflowers developed deep taproots for drought resistance and soil improvement. Industrial varieties have shallow roots optimized for chemical fertilizers. This creates dependency and vulnerability to drought. By 1980, industrial monocultures stretch across Ukraine, Russia, Argentina, the United States. 100,000 identical plants engineered for one purpose: producing oil. Industrial processing uses hexane, a petroleum derivative, to extract maximum oil. The crude oil is then refined through chemical processes: degumming, neutralizing, bleaching, deodorizing. Each step removes something. The refining removes vitamin E, phytosterols, phospholipids. What emerges is neutral oil with few health-promoting compounds. You're left with predominantly linoleic acid, an omega-6 fatty acid that in excessive amounts contributes to inflammation. The balanced profile of the original seed has been destroyed. But there's a deeper cost. Sunflower monoculture devastates soil health. When you plant the same crop year after year, you deplete specific nutrients. Industrial farming addresses this with synthetic fertilizers, but soil loses natural fertility. Monocultures create ideal conditions for specialized pests. The response? More pesticides. Sunflowers are routinely sprayed with herbicides, insecticides, fungicides. These chemicals kill beneficial organisms, contaminate water. Neonicotinoids used on sunflowers are linked to bee colony collapse. Cruel irony, since sunflowers are vital forage for bees. A 10-year Ukrainian study compared monoculture versus traditional rotation. Monoculture showed 40% reduction in soil organic matter, 55% reduction in beneficial bacteria, 70% reduction in mycorrhizal fungi, 30% reduction in water infiltration. Fields with rotation maintain soil health and beneficial organisms. This is basic ecological science farmers knew for millennia. Now, something that should disturb you. In the 1990s, scientists discovered sunflowers are hyperaccumulators of heavy metals. Their deep roots and high transpiration absorb lead, cadmium, uranium, cesium-137, strontium-90 from contaminated soil. After Chernobyl in 1986, researchers deployed sunflowers in contaminated areas. The plants absorbed radioactive cesium and strontium. Same after Fukushima in 2011. A plant that can extract toxins from poisoned earth, leaving soil cleaner. But industrial hybrids have reduced phytoremediation capacity. Shallow roots don't penetrate deep enough. Reduced biomass means less absorption. We've engineered out one of the plant's most valuable functions, healing damaged ecosystems for commodity output. We're living in an era of widespread contamination. We have a plant that helps clean this mess, and we've deliberately made it less capable because that doesn't generate profit. 15 years ago, a botanist in Kansas found sunflower varieties collected in the 1920s from indigenous communities before commercial breeding. She grew them alongside modern hybrids. Same conditions. The differences were striking. Heritage varieties showed 60% more root mass. They exhibited full heliotropism, multiple branching heads, more pollinators. During drought, heritage varieties maintained 80% yield, while modern hybrids dropped to 45%. Why? Deep roots accessed water from lower soil layers. Broader genetic diversity gave adaptive capacity. They evolved for survival, not just yield under chemical support. Seeds had lower oil content, 35% versus 50%, but oil quality was superior. Higher vitamin E, better fatty acid ratios, more stable naturally. When composted, they contributed significantly more organic matter. She published in 2012. Commercial agriculture ignored it. But small farmers noticed. Seed-saving networks noticed. Heritage varieties started being preserved. Farmers experimenting with regenerative agriculture incorporated them. There's growing recognition that industrial cultivation is unsustainable and produces inferior products while destroying the resource base. This isn't about sunflowers. It's about reducing living systems to single-purpose resources. Taking something whole, a plant that improves soil, provides food, supports pollinators, heals contaminated earth, turns toward the sun, and extracting one dimension while destroying everything else. The sunflower didn't fail us. We failed the sunflower. We called its complexity inefficiency. We called its resilience low yield. We engineered out its wildness, its autonomy, its ability to thrive without us. Now we have broken plants that can't survive without chemicals, that produce oil stripped of nutrition, that contribute to soil death rather than life. This is the pattern everywhere in industrial agriculture. Take a system, identify what generates profit, breed everything else out, support the fragile monoculture with chemicals, extract maximum short-term yield while destroying sustainability. But wild sunflowers still exist, growing in ditches on abandoned land, still turning toward the sun, still extending deep roots, still remembering how to be complete. Heritage sunflower varieties still exist. Seed-saving organizations maintain them. You can obtain seeds, grow them, save seeds from your harvest. These plants behave differently from industrial sunflowers. They branch. They produce multiple heads. They track the sun. They develop deep roots that improve soil. They produce less oil per plant, but oil quality is superior. And plants give you more. Biomass for compost, food for pollinators, soil improvement. If you have contaminated soil, many urban areas do, sunflowers can help clean it. Plant them, let them grow, then properly dispose of the plants. The soil will be cleaner. Grow sunflowers in polyculture, with beans that fix nitrogen, squash that shades soil, maize that provides structure. The traditional three sisters add sunflowers as a fourth sister. Watch the system work. Plants support each other. Diversity prevents pests. Soil gets richer year by year. Save seeds. Take seeds from your healthiest plants. Plant those next year. Over time, you'll develop sunflowers adapted to your conditions. This is how it was done for thousands of years. Use the whole plant. Seeds for food and oil, petals for dye, stalks for compost. Don't reduce it to a single function. Honor the complexity. I keep seeds here. Heritage varieties from Kansas, South Dakota, Cherokee seed keepers who maintained traditions. An elderly Lakota woman gave me these seeds 10 years ago. She was in her 80s. Her grandmother had given them to her, and her great-grandmother before that. The chain unbroken despite everything. She told me, "The sunflower teaches us to follow the light." The white farmers made sunflowers that forgot how to turn toward the sun. They thought they were making it better. But you can't make something better by taking away what makes it alive. I asked why she kept growing these when hybrid seeds were available. She looked at plants in her garden, their faces turning east in morning light. "They still know how to pray," she said simply. The new ones forgot. The sunflower that followed the sun is still here. Not in industrial fields, but in margins, in gardens of people who remember. The question isn't whether the sunflower can recover wholeness. The question is whether we'll allow it to. Every time you plant a heritage seed instead of a hybrid, choose polyculture over monoculture, save seeds instead of purchasing them, honor the complete system, you're participating in restoration, not just of sunflowers, of the relationship between humans and the living world. The flower is still trying to follow the sun. It's time we let it.